Welcome, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you'd like to stand for the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll go to public comment. The Pickens County Library Board will allow 3 minutes per speaker for public comment. A maximum of 30 minutes shall be allowed for speakers at each meeting unless time is extended by a majority vote of the library board. Public comment is limited to matters relevant to library business. Issues relevant to library business are defined to mean information about library events, issues that the library has the authority to address, items listed on the agenda, and items or issues previously voted on by the library board or that the library board has the authority to consider or vote on in the future. The board chairperson may interrupt or stop a speaker if the public comment is irrelevant to library business, unreasonably repetitious, or substantially disruptive. No speaker may employ language that is obscene, scurrilous, or recklessly defamatory in comments that describe board members, any other participants at the meeting, or library staff, including their opinions, proposals, and duly constituted actions. No conduct shall be tolerated or allowed that unreasonably provokes or disturbs another or interferes with the conduct of a peaceful meeting. The board chairperson, other presiding officer, or the library director may respond to specific inquiries as appropriate or may direct speakers to the appropriate staff for the assistance. The board may comment, take action, or not take action with respect to public comment at the future board meeting as it deems appropriate. And tonight we have 17 people signed up to speak, so do we want to make a motion to allow all 17 to speak or cap it at 10?
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion to cap it at 10.
Second. All those in favor? Okay. The first one, Janelle Raines.
According to our First Amendment, abridging the freedom of citizens to petition the government for a redress of their grievances is in violation of my rights. I should not be limited on how many books or when I can petition my government. Turning in a reconsideration for a book that is vulgar for minors, that violates South Carolina law, is my petitioning the government for redress of my grievances. I was recently denied my right to submit grievances against 2 vulgar books. Your present reconsideration policy is in violation of my First Amendment right to redress my grievances. Greenville and Anderson County libraries do not have a limit on how many or how often citizens can submit reconsideration requests. I strongly suggest that you revisit the reconsideration policy. It needs amending, or it will face legal action. In my estimation, 40% of the books that you label young adult books are in violation of the state proviso. Also, to my knowledge, the application process for a child's card has not changed to comply with assuring explicit parental permission has been given to access vulgar parent interest content. Minors' minds matter. Some books have ideas that are not age appropriate. I have heard many of you complain of feeling overwhelmed by reconsiderations. Well, maybe if your collection policy was in alignment with the Greenville Library policies, we wouldn't have to file so many reconsiderations. We petitioners, over 4,000, actually care about the innocence of minors being protected, and we can't understand why many on this board and in our community don't care. We didn't organize this fight to overwhelm you. We hoped a plethora of reconsiderations would make you change your collection policy to protect minors' minds. But all you are doing is making policies which make it harder for citizens to protect minors. And you are ignoring the new law. The Miller test for obscenity is explicitly based on contemporary community standards, meaning the judgment is made based on what the average person in a given community would consider appropriate when evaluating the material. So who is the average citizen in our Pickens County community? The director said at the last board meeting she looks to Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library System in North Carolina for their standards. Mecklenburg community standards are not the same as ours, as evidenced by Mecklenburg voting over 65% for woke Kamala Harris for president. Trump won over 75% of the votes in Pickens County, and we are not a woke community. Citizens have a...
Thank you. Kate Bird.
Is Mr. Wilson not here?
Oh, no, sorry, he is not going to make it tonight.
Well, I was going to address part of my comments to him, but...
And neither is Susan Childers. She's not here tonight.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kate Bird. I'm a 50-year resident of Pickens County and a longtime satisfied library patron. I was going to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Wilson, but instead I'll spend my time talking about the not overwhelming. It is on the Republican Party website that they want to overwhelm the library director and the board of trustees with book challenges. It is still there. I checked today. The group that is trying to censor books, it became evident how small this group actually is when Senator Rice told me that 4,000 people signed the petition submitted to Governor McMaster asking to remove library materials for patrons under 17. At the Pickens County Legislative Delegation meeting on Monday, a member of the group claimed there were 4,700 signatures. I used the 4,700 figure to create these charts. The first chart shows the petition signers as a percentage of the 68,175 registered voters in the Pickens County portion of Senator Rice's district. They represent just 6%, which is evidenced by the gray slice. However, being a registered voter is not a requirement for a library card. This chart shows the petition signers as a percentage of the county's total population of 135,495. Only 3%, and again, a tiny fraction of the population. This small group has already cost taxpayers in the school district and county precious time and dollars. They've created chaos and a mistrust of our librarians, our library director, and the library system that serves our community so well. Unfortunately, their voices have caught the attention of a politician who added a proviso to the state budget that experts in law and library professionals widely say is vague, subjective, and an infringement on the First Amendment rights of parents, children, teens, and it will fail in court. When faced with complaints and challenges, I urge you all to follow the guidelines in the South Carolina Public Library Trustees Reference Manual, to support the library director.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and service.
Katrina Heiss.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today as a concerned community member, and given the limited time of just 3 minutes, I want to dive right in. In attending various Board of Trustee meetings, I've listened to passionate voices advocating for the ban or relocation of certain books, as if the books themselves are jumping off the shelves to hurt our children. When I respect their concerns, I would love to see this passion redirected towards pressing issues that affect our community rather than targeting valuable resources like our library. With my background in domestic violence, substance abuse, and sexual abuse advocacy work, I would like to share some critical information with you. Here are some of our nationwide statistics. A 2020 study revealed that children aged 3 to 18 spend an average about 5 hours a day on social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Alarmingly, 41% of teens who engage with social media describe their mental health as poor or very poor, often grappling with suicidal thoughts, self-harm, and poor body image. Another study conducted in 2022 found that the average child first encounters pornography online at age 12 years old, with 15% of the youth surveyed reporting that their first exposure was age 10 or younger. Here are some state and county statistics. As of 2024, South Carolina ranks number 6th in the nation for domestic violence rates. And 79% of our domestic violence fatalities in South Carolina, the leading cause of death was gunshot wounds. Recent data from 2022 to 2023 indicates a rise of physical abuse and neglect against children in Pickens County. Furthermore, information from 2023 ranks Pickens County 10th out of our 46 counties in South Carolina for high-risk opioid abuse. To end on a more positive note here are some statistics for library and reading. Youth who regularly visit libraries demonstrate greater social skills and the community connection, which fosters resilience. Students who participate in public library summer reading programs scored higher on reading achievement tests at the beginning of the next school year than students who did not participate. Let's recognize that our county already faces significant challenges that deserve so much more attention than which books should be banned or moved. Children and adults in Pickens County deserve to live somewhere safe and healthy. And I assure you, banning books is not the answer. Our local library isn't just a collection of books, it's a safe haven that fosters literacy, encourages learning, and well-being. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Abby Clark.
Good evening. I'm the daughter of a professional librarian, and I'm proud of it. And every parent wants their child to feel comfortable talking to them openly. But I really want you to honestly ask yourself, do you think your teenager shares everything they've heard, read, or experienced with you? Judging by the comments, the slurs, and beliefs I've heard in some of these meetings, many adults here are struggling to break the cycle of intolerance. The books being challenged by a vocal minority help teens understand issues they or their peers face, topics they may not feel comfortable discussing at home: abuse, racism, sexual confusion, molestation, isolation, suicidal ideation, drugs, or sex. These books shine light in a darkness and remind teenagers they're not alone. Pretending these issues don't exist will not make them disappear. As a former English teacher, I've seen what happens when you try to censor books. It backfires. Tell a teenager not to do something. I dare you. When I displayed a wall of banned titles, students flocked to them. One of my class favorites was A Golden Ticket, The Mortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. The students, unlike the people challenging, focused on the systemic racism, medical exploitation, not the one pornographic moment that caused a challenge. Do you know what my 15-year-old students did when we read this aloud? Nothing. Not a joke. Not a snicker. When parents censor books like this, they silence the memory of a woman who saved countless lives. And they show their children they don't trust them to be mature. The debate about banning or relocating books isn't new. History shows authorities and groups have tried to control populations through censorship. Today's efforts are a modern form of book burning, creating a cultural erasure or genocide. Senator Rex Rice may not be lighting a literal match, but his push to censor books for teens is just as harmful. Censorship says more about the censors than it does about the books. Libraries exist to provide information and not restrict it. Librarians put books on shelves not for personal bias or political agendas, like Senator Rice's inappropriate proviso. We don't let untrained individuals dictate how doctors perform a surgery. So why are libraries any different? Considering 54% of American adults read below a 6th grade level and 21% are illiterate, we should increase the access to books, not restrict it. Relocating books sends the wrong message. Certain voices and stories are dangerous or untrustworthy. This fuels ignorance and stagnates literacy rates. The board now faces a choice: continue allowing fear and bigotry to silence voices, or respect all perspectives. Moving books harms everyone. It fosters fear instead of understanding. Public libraries must reflect all of America, not just the values of a small vocal few. If you want a segregated collection, build it yourself with your own money. Pickens County Public Libraries belong to all of us. Let us focus on raising literacy rates, supporting free thought, and ensuring everybody can see
Thank
themselves
you.
reflected. Thank you, guys.
Craig Holcomb?
Hello, Pickens County Library Board Trustees. My name is Craig Holcomb. I live here in Easley, and I wanted to vocalize my support of the library system. The librarians and the board members here carry a piece of the responsibility to our children and our community, so I wanted to thank you for all that you do. You educate and inform and support our community in so many ways, and I believe that we can continue to grow that. I think the best way to continue with that would be to support and educate us is through diversity and inclusive materials. The library should be a place where we can teach ourselves about each other, where we can learn about all kinds of people, all kinds of stories of queer people, people of color, disabled people, and more. Through these diverse stories, we can be more diverse people, and we can be open to new ideas and ultimately open to kindness. And that should be something we all want to strive for, to be kinder to each other. And I think that one way to be kinder is to be more open. Banning books is not the way to do that. Being open to books, improving resources that introduce children to new ideas in a safe way, such as the library, because I think that a good library makes us better people, and I think we can all be a little bit better. Thank you.
Sophia Gallimore?
My name is Sophia Gallimore, and I'm a Clemson sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. There are many things that people know about me, but what no one knows are the thousands of lives that I have lived since the day I picked up my very first book. I have roamed the halls of Hogwarts, grown wings and flown with fairies, fought in World War II, and joined the rebellion at Basgiath. I have battled the dragon in Eragon, time-traveled with Claire Fraser to 17th century Scotland, and solved mysteries alongside Sherlock Holmes. I have partied with Gatsby, found love alongside Elizabeth Bennet, and I have even learned to stay golden in the face of death. However, the most important life that I have lived is the one that books have helped me create, and the one that those books have taught me to love. For a long time, books were not only my best friends, but were my saving grace. I would not be the person that I am today without the freedom to learn from books without censorship. The power of a book surpasses the words on a page. Books are an immense source of comfort and companionship that never disappears. My parents allowed me to choose the person that I wanted to be, form my own opinions, and never discourage the books I chose to read. Taking away the freedom to learn and grow is more harmful than anyone can fathom. It hinders free expression, restricts access to diverse thought, and prevents exploring other perspectives that might challenge societal norms. For those who want to control the basic right of free will while discrediting the professional librarians in a publicly funded institution, I ask you this: where is the line? If censoring a book or moving it to the adult section of a library because of a few moments of intimacy feels justifiable, then are we doomed to remove educational anatomy textbooks? Will we refuse to allow kids to use the internet? What happens to the Diary of Anne Frank, who discusses masturbation? It's not about encouraging children to read inappropriate books, but teaching them to be mature and responsible while reading them. If opening up the door to sex is bad, then why should we open up the door to death and murder? Should schools stop teaching children about war and genocide? No, because learning these things encourages maturity and understanding, which allows society to grow and improve. We will never be successful if we stymie diversity and refuse to open our minds to other perspectives. Censorship erases voices of marginalized communities and distorts history by sanitizing uncomfortable truths. Before we stifle a teenager's right to read freely, remember that society thrives and grows through the diversity that is found in books. Diversity and acceptance are the only things that are protecting us from ourselves. So here's to never losing the things that make us, us. Thank you.
Rachel Cox.
Good evening, and thank you for your service to our community. I would also like to thank Karen Culley for her past service to the library board. I often admired her ability to build bridges and engage in constructive dialogue, and I hope you will continue her legacy. I stand before you as a strong supporter of our beloved library system and our dedicated, knowledgeable, and outstanding library staff. The library staff have always been unfailingly helpful to me when I have come to them with questions. My family and I are dedicated readers and have attended many wonderful library programs. One spooky October night, my daughter and I took part in a read aloud of Macbeth at the Central Clemson Library. My son, husband, and I have participated in trivia competitions here at the Easley Library. We have checked out a disc golf set from the Liberty Library and have also checked out a metal detector from the Central Clemson Library. We did that after we had roof damage and wanted to look for roof tacks in our yard. My husband was helping a neighbor cut down a branch and told him about the metal detector when the neighbor mentioned that they had lost a wedding ring in their yard. The library provides many services to our community, and I am grateful to the library. I stand against the concerted challenge campaign of a very small number of people in our community. I ask you to trust individuals and families to make their own decisions about the books they read. I ask the board to consider including, as the State Board of Education does and as local school boards do, the names of book challengers with the list of challenged materials on the library website so that we can see what a very small number of people are challenging the books in our library. Those with grievances against books are free to not read those books. We do not banish reality from the world by banning books from the library. Frankly, there are certain situations I would rather my children encounter in books than in the world. By reading about certain situations in books, we can better understand those situations and how different characters react to those situations. To those who do not, and I would also note that those speaking against books at these board meetings do not seem to be the parents of children or teenagers. They are people who are researching lists of books to challenge and making a lot of work for library board members and staff members. Everyone, we all know how libraries work. You are free to read or not read any book that is on the shelf, and you are free to close any book that does not meet your desirements. Thank you.
Kathy Travers.
I don't believe she's going to be here.
Kathleen Campbell.
Good evening. Two words come to mind as we exit 2024 and greet 2025: embarrassed and excited. A year ago in January, folks read from 10 pervasively vulgar books that were found in the children's section of our public library. I truly believed with this awareness, the board would immediately take action and relocate these books to the adult section, not ban books, especially after those on the library board admitted to being personally uncomfortable with the vulgar contents of these books. But no, this board denied requests for relocation and actually support inappropriate material that are harmful to children. I was embarrassed to attend library board meetings whereby board members publicly reprimand one another, publicly insult our state senator, and publicly gave the middle finger to Proviso 27.1 and the rule of law by ignoring the recommendation of book placement that was clearly laid out by the state library director. Also, the blatant and glaring bias displayed during public input is repulsive. But the most egregious embarrassment was witnessing a verbal attack on a board member at a public meeting, even filing an incident report and saying that there was an ongoing investigation. Here's a copy of the incident report that was filed internally against Nancy Miller, with the violated employee stating, I quote, "I told them both I wasn't uncomfortable." What could have been resolved in a simple meeting of parties involved has resulted in a public display of unprofessionalism of the highest order. The divisive and bullied way that a library board member was treated in public is inexcusable. And believe me, although I may not agree with some things this board has done, I would be standing here speaking out defending any board member that was treated in this way. The board must not tolerate this kind of bullying. But I am truly excited for 2025. All over the nation, including Pickens, parents, pastors, teachers, and yes, librarians, are waking up, becoming aware of this atrocity, and policies are changing, boards are changing, lives are changing, cultures are changing, and returning to the state, to our state and national roots established in the Bible. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The church is neither the slave or the master of the state, but the conscience and the guide." As we embrace God's precepts, we enjoy his blessings. Thank you.
A couple of months ago, the state librarian was here, as you all know and remember. There was a 10-minute or so discussion about the books and what's going on, and she very clearly stated there's adult and there's youth. There's no 3 to 15, 9 to 16, 85 to 95. Those categories do not exist. After that went back and forth several times, at one point Mr. Wheeler had just relegated all the facts to semantics, okay? Your words. A little bit later, you talked about the proviso delivered by Rick Rice has been set up by an undefined group of citizens. He didn't set up anything. He's succumbing to the will of the people. The minor number that's been talked about here again tonight represents well over 90% of Pickens County, probably not at least 95%. It does not represent just 4,000 people. So yet that factoid is taken completely out of context. He went on to say that the ambiguous authority and unknown professional experience, but then it was about 2 or 3 sentences later, you said that this ad hoc group of citizens using poor sources and no expertise. So somehow we went from unknown professional experience to none whatsoever. I don't know what prompted that, but calling the law semantics is not a good start. Subsequently, you said that Rex Rice was meddling. That was your word, meddling. There's no meddling at all. We the people have said what we want. 30 people in this room do not have the majority. They're vast minority, okay? And no, you can't be something to all people, because as soon as you put evil sitting around on a shelf that anybody can pick up, and it's well known and it's been stated that the books are deleterious to any child, okay? As soon as you do that, then you alienate the vast majority. So you can't be something for everybody. In the same way, we don't, because we have thieves, we don't set up, well, leave your cars and homes unlocked so the thief can come in anytime they want. It's exactly the same thing. So I ask you to, I don't know what happens to human brains when they present with facts and they go off on tangents, okay? It's very easy to do. But to sit back and look at what is the state law and stick with that and move out from there.
Since Kathy Travers was not here, Denise Davidson is next on the list.
Good evening. My comment refers to the incident report that was handed to you. When I arrived at the Sarlin Library last year, I decided for posterity I would record the visit. And South Carolina is a one-party consent state. I will say that Ms. Miller did not know that. The recording refutes allegations in this incident report. As a citizen, I came to view the Demon School video. With vast resources available in the library, how was this subject selected? The librarian explained animes. When asked if there were other characters that could be shown, the answer was vampires and witches. This genre was selected by staff and approved by administration. It was chosen to share Japanese culture. Having watched the entire video, there was one clip, about 2 seconds, of what appeared to be a classroom picture with Asian students. The inference from this video is that Japanese students are devils because they all had horns. Their parents are scumbags, and they will be sold to demons. With the reports that were just mentioned by some speakers, we have children suffering from depression, anxiety, and other issues. This is not an uplifting or positive theme for young, impressionable minds. This report filed against Ms. Miller should be withdrawn and appropriate measures taken. This embellished accusation can be considered as a type of lawfare against a board member. As for the chair, bias has been repeatedly demonstrated toward the gallery. Last month, a group of people were allowed to sit on this front row and hold up colored signage when concerned citizens commented that vulgar and sexual material remain in the library in violation of the proviso. When others spoke in favor of no restrictions, their colleagues were allowed to clap, and they were not called down for that. People were not told to refrain from their sign displays until a board member stated it was a distraction. This came after the 7th speaker, and the group was never told not to clap. This selective outrage and application of standards is undignified and unprincipled. If the chair is allowing personal preferences to affect decisions and actions, perhaps resigning should be considered. Either the chair and the board represents and serves all citizens, or reconsiderations are in order. Lastly, the filing sent to the state indicating that libraries compliant with the proviso is demonstratively false by the fact that these prurient books continue to be on the shelves. Is this person responsible for filing a false report? Good evening.
Okay. Next on the list is the approval of the library board minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Were there any questions or comments or corrections? Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
there's just,
Okay.
there's just a question about the minutes is, in the last minutes, the director would like to have a note added to the public comment made by Janelle Raines for correction on Mrs. Raines' quote. That was in the November, that was to be in the November minutes. Was that corrected? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay, we have a motion on the table by Elisa. Do we have a second?
Second.
Danny, all those in favor?
I wasn't here, so I don't feel comfortable voting.
Okay. She abstains. She was not here. Library director's report.
Okay, so I did want to point out, and we've sent you via email, and you should have physical copies, that 2 books have been appealed to the board for decision. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison and Brave Face by Sean Hutchinson. Also, so you should have that information, and if you need any help getting access to those books, we'll try to help you out. As far as system updates, we did receive the South Carolina Native Plant Society grant. That grant has been awarded to support our seed library. Beth Buchanan, who is the Sarlin Library Manager, leads the seed library and manages those efforts. She coordinates donations and volunteers to pack seeds. and we are preparing to open the Seed Library in February. There will be pop-ups at all of the libraries. The first pop-up will be the first week of February at the Easley Library, and we'll have all the details available about those pop-ups and the opening of the Seed Library in February on social media and in our newsletter. Also, at the Sarlin Library, we have a new work-study program in collaboration with the Pickens County School District and Vocational Rehabilitation. They have a program that helps students earn a South Carolina employability credential by acquiring essential skills. And our current participant is our work study at the Sarlin Library. His name is Justin, and he'll be participating with us in that program until May. Cassie's going to talk a little bit about this, but we're currently working on our annual report, which is the calendar year of 2024, to compile those statistics. We have our upcoming free tax prep program that we do every year in a partnership with the United Way of Pickens County. It's free tax preparation for households with incomes under $60,000. Trained volunteers assist you to prepare your taxes, and appointments can be scheduled now, starting now, by calling 211. Also, the Hampton Memorial Library is celebrating its 20th anniversary on February 27th, and we're hoping to put together a celebration on that day. This library's ribbon cutting and grand opening was on February 27th, 2005. Also, our new our big author event we have coming up that we just confirmed today. On Monday, March 31st at 7 p.m., we will have Harlan Coben at the library. He's a best-selling author, and many of his books have been adapted to movies. I've seen a few recently on Netflix that are currently out, so we're really excited to have him. That will be a ticketed event, and we'll have event details published very soon. That concludes my report.
Okay, Cassie, this statistical report.
She always skips. Do you want me to do
No, that's,
the? No.
oh, yeah.
As far as the financial report, there's
more
nothing-
for her.
There's more for me. That
Oh,
was
I'm
my
sorry.
updates, but the foundation report looks good. Not much has happened since the last meeting. There's been holidays and, all kinds of things, so that's the financial, all the financials. For your information, we'll be using these soon, like I said in the last meeting, for budget planning. And then the foundation report, we currently have $76,852.66. And now, Cass.
Sorry about that.
Oh, do you have a question?
I was gonna say.
Just a note is that it looks like we're running greater than 50% on expenditures over the total budget. What's the balance that leads to that?
Well, some of that is because of things that we
Prepaid
pay
things. Yeah,
right
yeah,
up front,
yeah.
like insurance, tort insurance, things like that that are on the front end.
Right.
So that's why I'm not,
That's most of it. but-
yeah,
but
I'm
this-
not concerned.
This looks normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody else have any questions for it?
Are you gonna talk about this other thing, or, okay, separate, okay.
New
She
bit.
usually normally
Yeah.
talks about this stuff, sorry.
My turn?
Yes.
So we have the quarter two for fiscal year '25 statistics included in your packets. Just some highlights on here. Visitors is about the same. It does show a slight decrease. However, we did have some power outages due to Helene, and there was a day that we closed here due to a car accident taking out the power. So I think that accounts for the decrease. Otherwise, it'd be pretty much the same.
Pickens was
yeah.
closed for several days.
Pickens was closed for about a week, and they average about 700 weekly visitors there. So that kind of takes you right back to equal.
We had a large increase in new borrowers. We had a 33% increase in new library card users or library users. Slight decrease in just the ebooks, and we think that that is probably due to the new ordering issue with, or not issue, new ordering guidelines with our budget, and then being in between bookkeepers, it's been a challenge to get things ordered. Computer users is slightly down, and that's just been what we've been seeing. People are more bringing in their own devices instead of using our computers. And you can see wireless users were up 15% on top of that. In programs, we are up across the board on that. I did want to point out that our attendance at teen and adult programs are both up over 50%. So that is great. And
Why
then
is that?
just quality of
Just
programs.
the number of programs?
So the number of programs is up slightly, on average about 5%, but the attendance at specifically teen and adult programs is up over 50%.
Right, and why is that? Why do you think that?
Just better quality programs and.
We were trying to
Good.
focus, I think, and we always try to refocus on, are we doing a whole bunch of programming that people aren't responding to? And we need to recalibrate and maybe do fewer programs that's less stressful on staff, but then make sure we're doing programs that people are interested in coming to. Like, we just had really great success this week with our Finer Things program. So just doing these less programs, but making sure they're getting really good response.
And then under outreach, we have done less outreach events. We have not resumed under children's outreach. We haven't resumed going to the daycares yet. We just finally got a new person in that position, and I believe she's starting to resume that program soon. Adult events were down a little bit, but there were events that we did last year that had low turnout. That we did not attend again. Some events didn't happen again. And then in one instance, there were 2 events that were combined. So that was down a little bit. And it looks like teen events were down a lot, but we did 1 instead of 2. So that's why that number looks like that. But overall, the attendance has increased. So again, you know, like Stephanie said, we're really trying to go where people are coming to see us instead of doing a bunch of events that we may not get our word out about the library. So we had overall on outreach, we had a 62% increase in interactions in attendance.
Do you get valuations from attendees? Is that part of your process to determine what?
Other than somebody walking up and saying, I don't
Well,
like
yeah.
this, or this is great, which
I-
is really good, honest feedback.
Yeah.
But no, we don't give them a survey, you
Yeah.
know. But they are encouraged to talk to them and see what they'd like to see more of,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. We're always interested in what we can do that people are interested in.
Lisa, did you have a question?
No. I mean, not about this. I had a question about the website update. Is the new calendar of the meetings and the minutes gonna be, like, where can they, the updated
Everything
stuff?
should be
Is it,
updated.
cause I looked at it I didn't look at it today, so.
It's on the county's website. So we've sent them everything. Our website.
Oh, you mean the schedule of our meetings is not on the website?
It should be on ours.
Okay.
I can check, but
Okay.
we sent that.
I saw 2024, I just didn't see 2025.
Okay, I'll make
yet,
sure it's
but-
updated. It
but
should be
might-
updated.
You might have done it, okay. Sorry.
Okay, item 7.
Sorry, I had a couple more
Oh, I'm
things.
sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
They were on my sticky note. We did complete our annual state report, that we do this every year, and it's a national report that compiles statistics across all categories of library service, meeting rooms, programs, circulation, all sorts of things. And that was completed at the end of the year. And the state library takes all that and does some stuff. And then it also goes to the Institution of Museum and Library Services as well. And then, as Stephanie mentioned, we have started work on our calendar year 2024 annual report that will go with the budget. So.
Okay, motion, item number 7, motion period and new business. We have some items that need to be added to the agenda. And the Pickens County Library System Foundation is A, you'll see, and B is updating collection development, library materials. Excuse me, and the third one that isn't on your agenda is to discuss the new information that needs immediate attention. So I'd like to move that from item C to item A. That's your new business, but discuss first so that we, it's the item that you were having questions about, the email. So do I have a motion to accept these items and moving C to A and?
I make a motion that we do not discuss the emails. Is that in light of just a couple of weeks ago where?
No. This is the one that you have right on your.
The renovations.
It has to do with the renovation project. Their request that the county administrator making of the board, that the deadline is tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So she just
Gotcha.
wants to discuss that.
Good to go. Okay.
So do you
I have
remove?
yeah. Just questioning what it was about. Yeah, I'll make a motion. Add that.
To move C to A.
And move C to A?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Go ahead.
Can I also bring a motion to have a special meeting, called meeting in February to discuss our bylaws, because I think we need some clarification on some things. Can I bring a motion for that?
To add that to the agenda.
To vote
To add
for,
it to
to
the
add a
agenda.
special meeting for
Okay.
February. 'Cause we
And we'll
have
make
to
that
vote
item D.
to add, okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you need a second and all
Oh,
that
yeah, we
stuff.
need a
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Do we have, you made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
To add? Okay, all those in favor? Okay. I'm writing that down, so. Okay, so, did you all see the email that Stephanie put out for everyone from Ken Roper? It should be like the last thing.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
On the last,
Yeah.
So, a quick rundown, and some of y'all been working on, from the beginning on this renovation project. We sort of started good. I thought we were on the right path. The board voted on an architect. We had a proposal. We had a contract with that architect. And then we went to county to get the money to start this project. And they were not, the council was not happy with how the architect and the board wanted to move forward with the process of choosing a general contractor and sort of organizing and managing that renovation project. So the council handed the management of that project over to the county administrator. I'm not sure exactly when that was, but it's been
It was
a while
January of
ago.
last year.
Yeah,
January of last year.
a year ago.
Not much had happened, other than them wanting drawings, which we instructed the architect to do. And then there was a new project manager hired by the county who was trying to help us figure out a way forward to continue this project that is now over 4 years. We've been working on this to find some way to move it forward. And we were working with him on a new we were working with the project manager on a new proposal that would include things that the county wanted to do, which is taking care of the HVAC before any other renovation was to take place, I guess. And that the architect said this is not the greatest way forward because you need to do this all at once. So the county has 50% drawings, and they were working on a proposal to change the contract with the architect to just do 100% HVAC and go 100% HVAC replacement.
Who is doing that? I'm sorry. Who is arranging
The
that?
architect or the project manager?
Yeah.
What's his D word, right? His name
Dirk.
Dirk. I was gonna say Derek.
So
He's doing it.
Well,
He's
we
doing
were
it.
trying to get RFQs to move this forward, to get a contractor. And the county said, we don't have a purchasing department, we can't do the RFQ. Dirk couldn't do the RFQ. The library couldn't do the RFQ. So Cassie and I were researching other outside companies who can write the RFQ to get a contractor. But now the administrator is saying that if we don't provide, at first he was under the impression that I had some kind of plans that I was not sharing with the county, which is not true. They have everything that we have. I confirmed that with the architect. I confirmed that with my staff. They have everything that we have ever asked for or received from the architect that I am aware of that exists. So they have all of that. And then he said, well, if we have everything, then he needs drawings from the architect to go out to bid for an HVAC system tomorrow. And I don't know how we're gonna get those. And in terms of instructing the architect to do something that's outside of our current contract, that's something that has to come from the board. I'm not gonna be pressured to make any kind of decisions addressing that contract or amending that contract without the board's approval. And these emails are addressed to me. They're not addressed to the board. They're not including anybody else. So I feel pressured to make these decisions, which I am not going to make. He says that if we do not give him what he wants, he's going to stop paying our current architect who we've chosen. This is how I understand it. And then go out and get someone new who will design this HVAC system for them, which would be a duplication of all the money that we've already spent and the amount of effort that we've already put into this project. I will say this, that at no time has this project ever been stalled by anything that my staff or this board has done. Since the beginning, we have wanted this renovation done. And we have encountered roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And we've tried to work our way around those. And now it just seems like there's a lot of pressure all of a sudden to say that we have not been moving this forward.
Dirk. See, I told you.
He's not been in communication with me, and he's not copied on these emails, so I don't know.
Is he still employed by the county?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, that's not
And y'all have
good.
been in meetings with them too.
Yes.
We were
yes.
trying to find ways forward. We have always been trying to find ways forward. This renovation has taken way too long.
Well, I
The
remember
cost
that he
of it has
promised.
doubled.
He promised that it was gonna move ahead. He promised he would do everything
And
he
he
could. That's why I wonder,
communicated.
where did he go?
Where'd he go?
Where
He's
is he?
lost.
But I think some sort of communication needs to be had, and I've said that in our last meeting. We need to have a meeting with council, with Ken, to get on the same page. But for him to stop payment on the architect that we have a contract with, unless they give him something that she is not currently contracted to do, in my understanding, is not beneficial to anybody. It's more taxpayer money thrown at this project that should have been completed years ago.
So he wants complete plan for a complete renovation of the HVAC system. Is that the plan?
I think he needs to tell you what he wants.
Yeah, 'cause it's
That
not
would be the
clear.
best way, to be clear about what exactly he wants to happen.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's not
if he's
clear.
in charge of the project, and all of a sudden we're saying, well, that apparently he was under the impression there were plans that I did not have, that we
Right.
were hiding, that we don't have, but now he wants something. I think he needs to be clear about what he wants, and y'all need to understand what is happening. Is this now just an HVAC replacement? Exactly, but he wants this by tomorrow. So, my plan was to, with Henry, form a committee and let's get all the same, or have a committee meeting and let's get on the same page, because nobody wants this done more than us. We see the need in this library every single day.
So he's claiming that he does not have sufficient information to bid the HVAC system, which is a renovation of the HVAC system. Is that what he's?
Replacement of the HVAC.
Replacement, I meant, yeah, of the HVAC system.
Is the plan that they're wanting with the new water system, HVAC and that, is that what our architect did, or is that something that county proposed that we do?
I believe that it was proposed by our architect and then the county.
The subcontractor for the architect, the mechanical
Okay.
engineer.
My understanding, as I read this, the HVAC, in order to get bidding, to bid on apples and apples, and not apples and oranges, the detail of the HVAC that the architect is placed, it's not enough detail for him to open up bids to get a comparable HVAC. That's what I'm seeing.
Right,
in this.
and I think, as far as my understanding
saying.
is, the contract that we have with her was to deliver 50% drawings and then go out and do an RFQ for a contractor, so that we could figure out what the rooms are gonna look like and where this HVAC's supposed to go.
But it changed up when the county, it shifted up for them to do the bulk of the work, or that they can, the work that the county can put in on this. So that changed up, using the plans, is my understanding. They providing as much work as possible, but I would go ahead and comply with Ken's request, and then let him decide. Maybe he'll see, well, there may be a little more time, he may extend the time a little bit. I think what he wants is us to make a decision so they can move on with it.
But we don't have anything more than the 50% drawings, and he's insinuating that we do have more than the 50% and that we have specifications, and we do not. We handed everything to them when we did that,
Yeah.
went for the design build.
Yeah.
So to say that we are withholding something from him is not accurate. And then the contract with the architect is between the board and the architect, not Ken or county administration. So the architect is going, if we tell her to do that,
She may submit something quickly, she could. Now, there may be something that she could submit that he's wanting, so he could continue the process.
but he needs to tell us exactly what he wants, because is she going to do anything with the threat of non-payment?
Well, we're not HVAC people, okay?
No, we're
For him
not.
to detail these things, and so to write out all of this, so he wants us to be able to give permission to get to her to move on with this. That's what I'm saying.
But we're not supposed to be involved anymore, because the county is the one that now is taking over. So we have no more authority to tell the architect, go ahead and draw these new plans, because he wants them. And I don't want to duplicate the work, that doesn't make sense, after we've already spent $157,000 on that. But
I think what you're kind of saying is, if the board votes, and that's what I'm getting at, if the board votes to tell the architect, give him what he needs to go to bid.
That's it.
That's it, yeah.
But
And
that's-
If y'all are comfortable
And then
doing
she
that,
says, I don't have,
because you don't have any information on what they're
asking
doing.
for it.
You can't do that by tomorrow.
Well, what would happen is, if y'all voted, I would go to her and say, we need to either amend this contract, we need to do something to be able to get him what he needs to do whatever he's doing.
We've got one of two choices, okay? Not to submit,
But if,
he shuts it down.
but if we do vote, then according to him, we're violating the new covenant that the project be managed by the administration.
Right.
Is that the point, or is that a point?
He's managing the project, but not the money, right?
That is what I read it as in state law. The library board is in charge of all appropriations.
Right.
And this was an appropriation. That's what I'm scared of. I know what you're saying, just give him what he needs to do it, but I'm afraid that they're gonna do something and y'all are in charge of the library and it's not gonna be, I mean, we have to get a new HVAC system, but I want you to be involved with those decisions because ultimately those decisions.
And what is the price of the new HVAC system that they're saying now it is?
I'm not sure.
Based on the cost estimate from the 50% drawings, it could be around $2 million.
Just for
For
HVAC, that makes no sense.
And that is the
And I'm
money
not
that
an
we
HVAC
have.
person, I know,
So-
but
Is it a
$2 million.
new system, or is it renovating the
It is
system we
a
have?
replacement. Anything that we have will be a replacement.
It's a different type of system than we currently have.
It's geothermal, you said? And that $2 million price, where did that come from?
Cost estimator.
Was that a response to a bid, the $2 million estimate, or is that just a true estimate?
That's just an
Just a
estimate.
ball by somebody in the county?
But we're stuck in a rock and a hard place right now, right? We're either gonna spend more money for another architect, or we're not gonna, I mean, we have to do something. Money's gonna be spent either way.
I guess under the circumstances, we do need to move forward and ask the architect for the complete plans so that he can move forward with his proposal. Otherwise, I'm afraid there's going to be more money lost and we're going to be told that we're not compliant with the wishes of the county. So I would.
But also at the same time, can we schedule a meeting with the
Yes,
budget,
we
with the
definitely.
renovation committee with Ken to further?
I would love that so that you understand.
No, but to further discuss it, at least
what,
he knows
what
we're
his
working on
plans
it.
are. I mean, I wish that he would share what his plans are with all of us.
Well, this is very vague and very hard to follow. I mean, the whole process is hard to follow, but this,
When you have two parties involved, you come up with things of negotiating, okay? And this is what he's wanting to do, okay? As far as with the details, so we can put the bids out, that's what I'm seeing. I mean.
Okay, that's not how I understand
You
it,
put
this.
you know, you giving him permission that they can work together on something, come up with something, that's what I say.
I'm fine with that. If that's what, but
Okay.
y'all need to vote on that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do anything, and then
Well, I'll make a motion.
I'll let Lori
All right.
tell the architect what to do on behalf of the board.
But where do we want her to go? Because we don't want her to do, I mean, she can't do 100% because the county's not working with them to tell them where the walls are gonna go. I mean, how can you really do a complete HVAC system when you don't know where the bathrooms are gonna be, where the walls are gonna be? So we're going to go to bid for an HVAC system to go in and do like a whole blanket space. And then what, are we gonna have change orders then later because, which will even be more money because they have to come in and rerun the ductwork or whatever because then we've put a room there or a bathroom there and they need to drop in. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but right now, we're not getting anything done.
I know.
I mean, something's gotta be done.
well, can we request complete plans for the renovations into which the HVAC would be situated? Can we do that at this point?
So the issue with that is we have a finite budget and we may not be able to afford what's in the complete plans. And if you do the complete plans, we can't afford them, then you have to pay the architect to redo the plans, which is more money.
But you could.
You could.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could, but
They're just
it's more
plans
money.
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're, if we had the plans, then we know how the HVAC system would fit into those plans, so that we can send a realistic HVAC set of mechanical plans to the county. So I would recommend that we just go ahead and get complete plans for the renovation. And then, of course, the HVAC will fall into that. Otherwise, we'll be into the situation where,
Yeah, but how much more money is that?
I don't know, how much more money will be the complete plans versus plans for the HVAC system. It seems to me that if we're doing plans, we might as well get the plans.
But is that what?
I mean, we could get an estimate.
I think that Mr. Roper should tell us exactly what he is expecting from the architect. Does he want the complete set of plans, or does he want just to air condition a space with no drywall and no ceiling, and that's our finished space?
I think it's time to get plans. I honestly do. I think we're just gonna keep going in circles.
Well, that's not gonna happen by tomorrow.
No,
Yeah.
no, not
Nothing,
even
yeah.
the plans to go to bed would happen by tomorrow.
That's really not the issue. In the building industry, this is say, we're needing to move now. Here's the deadline.
We waited a year and now all of a sudden,
They
hurry
will-
up.
That's neither here nor there. We have a county administrator asking us, okay, you do this, or we stop payment. I think we're overthinking it a lot, may not, I don't know, but I can't see any other way than to just say, okay, let them work that out with whatever she says.
What I have a problem with is the accusation that we were the ones slowing this project down.
Right.
That is absolutely incorrect. I can timeline it out and everything. I'm happy to work with him if he wants this, but coming out of nowhere, after we've been waiting and trying to work our way through this, to say that we are the ones slowing it down is not fair. But if he wants, whatever he wants to replace the HVAC and y'all are comfortable with that, that's, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever happens, I think from here on out, I would like for you all to speak with him and the architect, and these emails not come to me, because ultimately it's your decision.
I think the critical part here, it says, I'm informed that the HVAC is likely to fail before it cools the library for another summer.
That
was news to us.
That was what Mr. Hendricks said, and I responded and said that we were not aware of that, but we all agree that it needs to be replaced. So that information wasn't shared with us, but we all agree that, I'm not gonna argue with it needs to be replaced.
Yeah. Well, they're heavily involved in this project now. The county is.
They're what?
They're involved as far as doing the work, et cetera. To my understanding, they will be coming alongside doing work that, what they can help on. Is that correct? Isn't that what we,
I think that was the initial
I
thought,
believe
is
that
is that
changed, but-
building maintenance could assist with this project, but I don't think that's actually the case anymore.
okay.
I make a motion that we get the architect to get the drawings that Ken needs. Like, we need to release something.
So we need to, I need to call Ken, is what we're saying, and say, what drawings do you specifically want? Do you want just HVAC, or do you want the entire renovation project? Is that
Very good.
Yes.
I think that would be good clarification, although it says.
Well, I will email him that, because then we can all see what he says.
And you can get that done tomorrow, by tomorrow. He knows it's coming, or he's got it, whatever, and then they can work it out and have over the architect.
So do the plans actually exist?
50%. The 50% plans do exist.
The initial contract that we have with the architect is to do everything 50% and then get a general contractor on board so that we could get true pricing so that we knew what we needed to cut, because we can't afford what we were able to afford in the beginning. So instead of doing a bunch of change orders, we need to change the design before 100% of the drawings are done. That saves us money.
And of course, the key there is, how much money do we have? I mean, because.
Well, they have allowed us to use 2.5 million.
Yeah, but that's.
But that is not all that we have in the reserve fund.
No, and so that's the problem.
Yeah, I just wish that this had been a meeting where everybody could have been on the same page, so we understand what he needs, what he's doing. Is this now just an HVAC replacement and that's it? We're not doing renovation anymore? Because we need to know that to plan for spaces. Staff needs to know. We need to know if we're moving the Friends book sale room into the downstairs area, that the teens are not gonna have a space in this library anymore if we're not doing a renovation. We need to know things like that to plan. But I would love for him to share his plans.
HVA,
Right.
we need that regardless
Right.
of where, we need that.
Right,
So the
but
slope-
those spaces still really aren't usable in the way that we wanted them to be if the HVAC is replaced. But we need an HVAC replacement. Nobody is gonna argue with that.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question. So what's the worst-case scenario if we don't do anything and just let them take this over? What's gonna happen?
They will hire a new
Architect.
mechanical engineer, I guess, to draw up new HVAC plans, which we already have 50% of, basically redoing all the effort of the current mechanical engineer, what he has done.
And the reason he would do that would be to save money? Is that the point? Or, I don't understand.
To move the project forward, I guess.
He's saying that we're trying to withhold something, I think, that we're not withholding, that I am aware of.
It says you and I are both aware of plans in the possession of the architect.
And if you read my email, I say, let me be clear, I have nothing that you don't have. And I don't think that can be argued. I asked the architect, I asked staff, they have everything that we have. But then he says, okay, well, if we have everything, then we need more. Okay, well, what do you need?
Okay.
So we have a motion on the table for me to contact Mr. Roper, find out exactly what he wants, and then once we find out what he wants, then I'm to go ahead and tell the architect
To release that,
well, she has to create it,
or create it, yeah, whatever.
because they don't have anything to release.
And potentially amend the contract.
Right, because
Or change it.
the contract is now with us, and it should be with the county, because they're the ones responsible now for running the project, not the board.
So they would have to approve the additional money to get that done.
They would have to.
They would have to.
They would have to, not us.
In reality, we should, because it's our money, but
The problem I see, though, is that there are two possibilities. A set of plans with no renovation, which would be a different distribution of an HVAC system, and a plan with renovations, which would be different. And so what do we provide him? Do we provide him plans that show the renovation and then the distribution of the HVAC system within that?
Well-
It seems, because it'll be, I mean, it'll be different. I
well,
mean,
my
the
question
spaces
is
will be-
this too. If we're not doing the renovation,
Well, that's what
and
we
we're
have to
giving the
find out.
plans for the HVAC system, then to me, that's a maintenance issue with the county and not a renovation issue, so it should not come out of our renovation money. Because it's a maintenance issue, the HVAC clearly needs to be replaced with the existing system, and he says that here. So if we're not gonna do renovations, we're not gonna go ahead with the plans, if that's what he tells me, then that should not come out of our reserve account either, that should come out of maintenance.
Is that motion on the table?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's like a later argument,
Yeah,
because
okay.
right now we just need to get what he needs, if we can.
Okay, so do we have a second for her motion?
Second.
All those in favor? All right,
But do make it clear
right.
that we're talking about two different kinds of plans, possibly.
I'm gonna leave it up to Lori to get him what he needs.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
That would be a joy.
Okay, now, the Pickens County Library System Foundation. We're going to that. We can go ahead and vote for our slate, because we can vote for ourselves. I read that in my Robert's Rules of Orders, yes. So we could go ahead and vote so far for the slate of people so that we can get going on the foundation bylaws and policies and that. Consist of Elisa, myself, and Brittany Fowler.
And Karen.
Oh, and Karen Cully, oh my goodness, I can't believe I almost left her out. Yes,
So.
we need,
Motion
I
to
move
vote?
that we approve the slate.
Second.
okay, all those in favor? Okay. Whew, that was easy.
Feel weird voting for myself.
Updating the collection policy, or the collection development policy. We have that, and then I think, did you give this to everyone?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so have had some,
There were
this is just for discussion tonight. I feel like we need to review this but go ahead, Hap, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just made a few editorial comments. Some of them are just more or less copy editing. The only one of substance is the first one, where no library material be excluded because of the race, nationality, probably should be gender, sexual orientation or identity, or the political, social, or religious views of its author or its intended audience. And that would be consistent with our reconsideration request policy. That language would be consistent with that. So really, all I added was sexual orientation or identity in that. The rest of the changes are pretty incidental or grammatical corrections. So that's just for your consideration.
Does anybody have any comments?
So are we discussing this? Yeah. Okay, good, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have one.
Okay.
This section, I thought, okay, are we still gonna have a conversation about the teen and the young adult?
Yes, that's,
Okay.
but this is
just
reflective of
says
how
young
it is
adult. Okay,
now.
Okay.
Yep.
So we are still having the discussion.
Yeah, and then this can be changed to whatever you decide based on that discussion. This is just, we have a materials policy, and this is just improving upon that policy as it is right now. When you decide on the YA stuff, we can change this to match whatever decisions are made, if that makes sense.
And really, the fundamental change would be in those sections that describe the collection scopes. So the rest of the policy would be in place.
Okay, well, my big argument is that the teen and the young adult, that's my problem. So, I mean, whatever else.
Are you talking about like a teen section in this?
It just says young adult, yeah, it doesn't say teen, it says young adult. And,
Oh, I see where you are.
yeah, where it says 13 to 17.
Yeah, so, yeah, what's in there now is just reflective of how our current collections are, and then it could be updated based on the findings that we're still investigating.
So, you want, to see about approving it like it is, and then we can change it if it needs to be changed later. Why don't we talk about the teen and young adult before we do this?
Because I think that's gonna be a much longer process, and, I thought it was a good idea to get our collection development policy.
Where'd this come from?
We created it.
Okay.
Who created it?
We did, staff.
The staff created it?
Yes.
So this isn't overriding another one we already have in our policy?
We
but
do
this
already
is
have
new.
it, the materials policy.
not this.
Which is
This-
like, our materials policy is like, what, 4 paragraphs?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
thought we
Yeah.
should have a
It just
better.
expands on what is already in the materials policy and spells things out a little more clearly.
Right, it's awfully brief and really not comprehensive. This looks more like what I've seen at the American Library Association and other recommendations.
Libraries,
This-
yeah.
So, can I say something?
Sure.
The last meeting, Stephanie, you said that you were gonna check with other local libraries to see how they were changing their policies with the proviso. Do you have anything to give us on that?
It's the last item on the agenda, if you want to skip ahead now,
Oh,
or.
it might help with this, I don't know.
Yeah. Do we want to go ahead? Is everybody good with skipping ahead and,
I move that we skip ahead.
I second.
okay, all those in favor? We'll come back to this. We'll table this for right now and come back to it.
So I provided y'all with an update and some materials. I did reach out to the state library director. She didn't respond. I followed up, and she called me today to try to schedule a time to talk, and I haven't had a chance to talk with her yet. I did reach out to other library directors across the state. Most of the systems that responded to me have not moved forward with the guidance. Some of them were adamantly against it. And I'm still talking with, and they're probably interested in what the state librarian has to say about our concerns too. I'm still talking with directors. Some of them have asked to talk to me, and I just haven't had time yet because we've been doing bookkeeping. But I'm going to talk with them and see what direction they're leaning, but the vast majority are not, that responded, are not putting this in place yet.
Did
Our-
Anderson, Oconee, Greenville, the ones around us, did they, the counties that we are touching, did they respond to you?
No. Anderson asked me to provide her with what everybody else was saying after I compiled it. So she's curious. Sort of, we're all, like I said before, we're all kind of looking at each other, like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So that's where we're at right now. We do have a directors meeting tomorrow, so I think it's an agenda item, so I can hopefully get more reaction from people and what they're doing. I did reach out to some lawyers. The 2 firms that responded were Burnett, Shutt, and McDaniel in Columbia and Carl Muller in Greenville. If you'd like to move forward with speaking with them, we can set that up. Also, I did reach out to the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom. They have lawyers available to look over policy and things like that. I spoke with the Deputy Director, Sarah Lambden, and her staff is looking at the guidance and our concern, and I sent them that draft policy and procedure, the proviso, and the state Attorney General's response. Opinion. So they're looking at all that over. She did send some relevant items that she thought you may want to look at concerning lawsuits for creating these sections, moving YA materials, things like that. The lawsuits are failing. People are being taken to court because they're moving these things, which is why I think we need to be really careful, and why I think other libraries are hesitant, because there is that question of if we do something that we're going to end up being involved in a lawsuit, and it's going to cost us a lot more than what we even get in state aid to begin with. I know this library in Arkansas, the one that's in the article, it's a town of 60-something thousand people, and they've had to pay almost $500,000 in a lawsuit, and then had to move the books back. So that's what I'm afraid of, that we just have to be really careful, talk to lawyers. If you want to do something, you just need to make sure that we're not violating any rights in the process, even though it's young adult and minors.
So you're saying that moving books can have a lawsuit brought against because, for who, for minors?
So the first,
lawsuit would be brought because it's protecting minors? Is that what you're saying, that the lawsuit could come?
they're bringing them under the First Amendment.
By moving a book from one area to another is violating the First Amendment, and when you're making the decision of where to place it in the library, so the whole library could be violating the First Amendment?
No, but you're placing them there on grounds that violate
On
the First
publishers?
Amendment. No.
It's limiting access.
It's censorship, basically. If you create a set of rules that censor books or restrict access. I would encourage you to read these and see what these libraries did and see why they were brought to court and then
But
lost their
a lawsuit could come
lawsuits.
the other way too, right? That you, like, someone could bring a lawsuit against us also for not moving the book, correct?
Right, but those usually fail.
But this might too, you know, I'm just wanting to know both sides.
Yeah, there's a,
I don't know that it would be under the First Amendment that they would be suing us for not moving a book.
now the other side of the coin, there are libraries that are moving books to different sections successfully.
Are they? Did you ask me if they were? There
Yes,
were?
I've read articles, just keeping some articles and things from other states, and et cetera. It's been a while since I've read that. But there's, like the old saying, two sides to every coin.
Yeah.
In wisdom and us moving forward, meeting the proviso of the state, we need to pursue it. Yes, with caution, but not fear. Let's move and line up with the proviso. That's where we're at. Once again, it's just, we're there. I know, I think Greenville Library is pretty successful in how they're dealing with this and have been dealing with it. There's some libraries that we can look at and maybe set an example for us or a guideline in that. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that concerning collecting from other libraries, I know Stephanie has done some things, but I'd like to put it back in the hands of the board to search out and bring it back, and not just the director. That's what I'd like to say.
You're going to be contacting directors?
No.
Okay.
We'll be contacting the library.
Library board.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of the library, see how they function with this, or how they're functioning with it and handling it.
Did you hear?
Can you repeat the motion?
He has a motion that he would like the board to reach out and contact other library board members within the state? Within the state.
To what?
How they're meeting the proviso, what are their plans, their policies to line up with, comply with the proviso?
How they're meeting the proviso or how they're meeting the guidance from the state library?
Both. It'll work hand in hand,
I second. Don't you need a second?
Yeah, discussion.
I mean, that could be in addition to what's already being done here. Yeah, that'd be fine. How we're gonna do that will be,
We'll have to have like a committee.
Yeah, we can get a committee,
I've got Greenville's right here.
But have you talked to the Greenville board?
Yes, I have.
So we will, if we're going to do this, we need to have, it needs to be like every board member on the board, not just like one person that has, you know what I'm saying? It has to be as unbiased as possible, like interview every board member on that board and get their response.
But aren't they all working on the same collection policy? I mean, they all are.
If they've all passed this
If they're-
policy.
If they've passed it, yes.
Yeah,
This is
that's
a
what I
past
mean, like,
policy.
it's asking them.
Right.
How they're, on their collection.
And I think every board needs to be asked the same exact questions.
I think what we need to ask is, what actions are you taking? And if there's no action yet, then we have to wait, because there's no point in getting somebody's opinion about what should be done. We're dealing with actions right now, or proposed actions.
Okay, so, do you want to amend the motion to be more specific about what actions they're taking?
Right, yeah, that we approach the board to determine what actions or proposed actions,
To meet
the
the
actions
proviso
they've taken
under
or
state guidelines.
actions they plan, yeah. Not, we don't want opinions.
All right, second again?
Second, again.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay. All right. Do we want to go back to the collection development policy, or did we want to go ahead and table this for discussion later, or what are your thoughts?
I think it's a moot point right now to spend any more time on this until we know what we're doing.
Okay. So are you making a motion to table it right now?
I am making a motion to table the
you have a
collection
second?
development policy right now.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Remember, you'll have to have a motion to take it off the table before you can.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, remind me of that. Okay, I didn't miss anything,
Did
right?
you want me
Lisa's,
to?
D.
Yeah, her special.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, good. Add that, all right.
Well,
So-
first, did you want me to move forward with the lawyers?
Oh,
Yes.
So how do y'all want that
I
to?
think we should get legal advice.
I do, but once again, I'd like to see that in the hands of the board.
So y'all are gonna approach lawyers?
That's a motion I would like to make.
okay.
So I will tell the lawyers,
Well, we as a board can
You
contact them.
have contact some, you
Yes.
can give us the names,
okay,
and we can go
I'll-
from there in that discussion of who we're looking for.
I'll forward that information to Lori.
Okay. Now, we have, for the special meeting in February to discuss the bylaws.
Yes.
The by-
Clarification on the bylaws. Bylaws in our book, in our policy book, there's 9 articles of bylaws. I think we need some more clarification. I have questions, if you want to know. I've got questions, so I was trying to make it a.
I'm totally
special
confused,
meeting.
totally confused about the bylaws.
Bylaws?
Right,
For the
It's in the
board.
first 2 pages of your policy manual.
in our policy manual. You're going to have a meeting in February?
The workshop with the county attorney. Y'all should have an email.
It's the 4th, right? The 4th of February.
Okay, can we, what time is it? I didn't see it.
6.
6.
Oh, you want to carry on that one while we're here?
Right.
That's a good idea.
Does that sound good?
That's a good idea.
Okay, so after we're through with Mr. Hendricks, or he's through with us, whichever way it happens to be, we'll go ahead and just discuss, and it'll just be the special call meeting just for business, like to deal with, there will be no public comment or anything.
But it's called a workshop. Is that?
It's
public's
still,
not here- Is public
the
here?
public
Okay,
can,
that's-
because we have a quorum.
Okay, okay.
No, the workshop is just for y'all. It's
Yeah.
not a meeting. You're not making any decisions. It's like when the state librarian came. It's a workshop for y'all.
So
You'll all be
it's not-
together, but you won't be.
But it's not-
you
But
won't
we
be
still have to place the notice, no?
You do, that you will all be in the same place together.
Oh, okay,
But you're
gotcha,
not
gotcha.
discussing things, you're not making decisions, you're not discussing ways you're gonna vote. It's just a workshop from the county attorney.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you can go into the special meeting.
Right.
That is open to the public.
From 7 on.
so-
From
yeah.
7 on.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we want to do that? Well,
Do we need to make a motion?
For the meeting.
I'll make a motion that we have that meeting after we meet with Mr. Roper. Or
No.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yeah.
On the 4th.
second,
Second.
all those in favor? Okay, good. All right then.
Madam Chairman, I've got one more, you're adding to the agenda, if I could, to add one more motion to change the existing, to change our location of meeting for the March 20th meeting from Liberty to here. And I can further, if that motion carries, I can discuss and clarify why.
We have to discuss that when we go through the new business, right?
We are.
No, when you brought it to the attention that you wanted to add something to that, that's when it is supposed to be added. Am I correct?
I think
I
so.
believe so, technically.
I didn't hear what you said.
When I read this, that we were doing the motions and that, and then, like, she said she wanted to add the special meeting, that's the time to add the things to the agenda, or to make motions?
Well, yeah.
But go ahead and explain why
Yeah.
you want to move that.
Okay, yeah. It's tough, the space for our meeting. It's much smaller than any other library. Pickens works for a board meeting with people. Central as well, but Liberty, the times we have met, I know it was just packed, hot, probably won't have that problem now, but I didn't get all my, I tell you, Hap and I were so close. We become good friends that night. But our papers were just like this, and when I left the meeting, I didn't have all of my, everything just mixed up. It was tight, it was packed. And until we start having should we begin the smaller community participation, I'd say we need to keep it in a bigger arena, if you will, a place. That's why I'm wanting to bring that, because it was as uncomfortable could be down there. And I don't know, packing a room out like that, the fire marshal may have something to say. I don't know.
What is the capacity for that? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, now discussion.
I believe it's around 70 or 80 is the capacity in that room total.
Can you invite her here?
Yeah, if she wants to come
I
here.
mean,
I mean,
that
I
way-
agree with everything he's saying.
Well, that way,
It
because it's
was
more of her
uncomfortable.
talking about the library too. That's one of the
Yeah.
perks too, right? So can she be invited here to be able to do what she wants to do too?
Of course, we won't have public comment, so that may.
No,
No,
that's.
she's talking
that-
about
We're
March.
talking about
Oh, you're
March.
We're talking about
meetings.
the March meeting.
Oh, the March meeting.
Yeah, we're moving it from.
Oh, yeah, I see that
Yeah.
here, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
To move it here? Or
Yes.
are we just moving it?
To move it here.
I have to make sure
Sorry.
nobody has that ran.
Done.
Gosh. Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's not
it's
a
far enough
program.
away that
Okay.
we can move it.
Okay. Old business, Stephanie?
Is that
We
not
already
what we
discussed
just?
it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it is.
Sure that is.
Okay then, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I make one, I need to make a comment to put on the record. Is that okay? Got to do that?
Was it on the agenda?
It's not on the agenda.
And it wasn't discussed.
And it wasn't discussed, put under new business,
No.
so no.
Okay, thank you.
But if you want to add it to the agenda at the next meeting in February, Well, that's just a business. March, sorry. Go ahead and get with, send an email to you, Stephanie and Lena. Yep.
So if we want to add things to the agenda, we don't send it to you, we send it to Stephanie,
Or you can send it to me.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
prefer you send it to Lori.
All right, then send it to me, Nancy.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
And reconsideration requests, the two most current ones, we're looking for March to discuss those.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?